soul. Cooking soul.
Day number 2 of the 78th Donald Ross Jr. Championship from Pinehurst Resort, and everybody's still in the holiday season and the festivities. It looks like Christmas around here, and the beautiful indoors of the lobby of the country club at Pinehurst is a perfect setting because, as we mentioned yesterday, absolutely frigid outside, very nice inside, beautiful fireplace cooking just off to our right. And I promised you a fireplace yesterday, Rhea and Steve Scott. I told you I'd get you taken care of.
You delivered, Nick. You delivered.
I just want the best for both of you because the next 6 or 7 hours. I just did it. 6, 7. Could be a little bit tricky out there. And I think that's where we begin today as we get you all set for round number 2, the final round of the 78th Donald Ross Jr. Championship. It's going to be cold. It is drastically different conditions than what we're used to. And, Rhea, as a college golf coach, especially in Virginia, you're used to challenging conditions, and I hate to keep harping on it, but it is certainly going to be the theme of the day. The weather outside is gorgeous if you didn't know what the temperature was. It's the clear skies and sunshine, but it's going to be 40 degrees.
It's gorgeous, yes. So one of the things that I was thinking about leading into today, so Dr. Bob Rotella, we get to work with him a little bit as a mental performance coach.
I love this. I need this, actually.
Yeah, and one of the things that he says is these are the days where it's actually, in some ways, easier to play well because most of the field has already talked themselves out of playing well because of a condition or an excuse. So he thinks that the harder days are the ones we should embrace and that we should really take advantage of.
I mean, Steve, you've obviously played at a high level. That's got to be some of probably the best advice, and it sounds great. It's who can actually internalize that and then apply it.
Yeah, there's no question. As I was driving over here today, I heard the song "Daylight" by Shinedown, and there's lyrics. I'm going to show you the lyrics. It's amazing what the hard times can reveal, like who shows up, who walks away, and who's for real. And I think that that's very apropos today, even though it is beautiful outside, and you're not going to be able to feel that temperature through the camera lens. We're going to feel it, and the young men and women are going to feel it today. And look, we're not solving the world's problems here. I mean, this is golf, but it is going to be a very challenging day, and they're going to prove a lot to themselves and everybody who's watching.
Super profound. I couldn't. Actually, that's incredibly profound. I think that golf mimics life in so many different ways, and I think that what you just said is, I wish all the golfers in this field could actually hear that because it is just golf, but this is a sport that sort of defines your character as well, and I think, Rhea, as a college golf coach, that's also what you're looking for in these young women that come through your program, and the same for a men's college coach. You're looking for great talent, but you're also looking for character, and in a massive way, you're developing that, and certainly golf defines that in multiple levels.
Absolutely. So when we're recruiting out there, the hard days are what we really crave watching. Everybody can play well on an easy day, on easy conditions, but it's what can you do when the conditions are tough? Mm-hmm. What can you do when you have to make these adjustments for the cold and the wind? So these are the defining days, I think, that really separate the people that can just show that toughness, that grittiness a little bit.
These golf courses present challenges in and of themselves in the absolute pristine conditions, whether it's the middle of summer or cooler winter day. When you combine both of them and you have the challenges of the terrain and everything that is built here at Pinehurst, obviously courses 1, 4, 5, and 8 being utilized at this event and today especially, how do you balance both of them?
I would say stick to your game plan. You make a really good plan on the practice round day. Course 1 has a lot of these dog legs that you really have to stay disciplined on. I think it's just also having this sort of checklist in your brain about, all right, I have to make this temperature adjustment, and something that we like to say is at least 2 yards for every 10 degrees below 70. So that, in addition to how you're moving, maybe a little more restricted with the layers, that's really going to affect your yardage. So just kind of taking yourself through both the checklist and then the plan that you made during the practice round day.
Steve, we've talked about. We'll focus on the boys' side first, and then we'll circle back to where we think the women are at and how that's going to play out on course number 1. The flip-flop of 5 and 8 is dramatic. 8 is an incredibly challenging golf course. We knew it was going to be. It played that way yesterday. We've talked to several people around here, and the thought is that the leaders, the winner, will probably come off of course 5 because it will play a little bit easier. Don't have as much wind today as I'm looking out the window. Skies are clear. Rain is not a factor. The cold is. In your opinion, does it change the way these players will be able to tackle 5 and 8? Because if you were on 8 yesterday, you get the reprieve today on 5, and if you were on 5, now you're in a challenging 8, but the weather maybe is a little more in your favor in terms of wind and rain.
Yeah, Rhea and I were talking about this off camera before we started, and I think I was trying to figure out, like, what really trumps what? Does heavy wind trump heavy, extreme cold?
Basically
or does
my
extreme
question,
cold
yeah. Yep.
trump heavy wind, right?
Yeah.
And I, with this extreme cold, I don't. It feels pretty neutral to me. I feel like, if anything, a little less wind is going to be easier to deal. I mean, I think a little extra cold will be a little easier to deal with. The Pinehurst number 8 course is definitely the more difficult golf course. We saw 1 over par was the best score yesterday by Michael Qualich. And today, I mean, I think if somebody shoots 1 or 2 over there, that's going to be a very strong score. But we have all of our leaders currently. Jake Brady, who shot 1 under on course number 5.
Yep.
Sawyer Driscoll and Bodie Snyder all shooting 1 under on course number 5. If one of those players shoots that same good score, 1 over par today, and gets to even par, I mean, it's going to force Michael Qualich to go out and shoot 2 under par over here to take the victory. It's going to be very close. It's going to be very neck and neck, and I think it's going to be really cool. We're going to have coverage on both of these courses. I'm going to head over to number 8 and follow that lead group over there. It's going to be very interesting to see how this plays out, and yeah, I mean, it's kind of anybody's ball game because it's 36 holes too. It's a very short race. There's not a lot of time for makeups here.
Sprint, not a marathon. One more with you before we hand it over to Rhea, but talk about inherent course knowledge, talk about comfortability, talk about knowing the place and living in your own skin. You mentioned Jake Brady.
Yep.
That's a guy that has all of those things. He's a member here at Pinehurst, and that's got to help. You know the people, you know the place, you know the ins and outs. I mean, when the staff is saying hello to you, you got a pretty solid advantage.
Yeah, he's definitely has having that home course advantage, that knowledge, that comfortability around here. I think will be huge. I mean, earlier this summer, he finished tied for second in the U.S. Kids World Teen Championship here in Pinehurst as well. When you get to sleep in your own bed and not in a hotel, that's an advantage for sure. So yeah, I mean, 4 birdies yesterday in that heavy wind. He knew that golf course. He knew where to play it. He knew where to miss it. I think he's kind of one of those guys that we're going to have our eye on course number 8 today.
Rhea, we talked quite a bit about par is a good score. Don't chase down birdies, and I think that resonated in my mind yesterday massively, especially when on course number 5, I was on hole 14, the par 3. Things got more challenging for sure. The wind picked up. The pin was tucked to the right. It was difficult. I thought about it all the time. I saw guys going at the pin, missing right, putting themselves in precarious positions. Par's a good score. Don't chase birdies, even on a day like today. Slow and steady, I think, probably wins the race.
I mean, even as much as things are a sprint today with it only being 36 holes total, a par is always a good score. Having looks at birdie, I think, is always a great thing.
Yeah.
There's a little...
No idea what that feels like.
There's a little saying that we have on our team, thanks to the guys at Decade. They said, we want to be tap-in champions. We want to have looks and opportunities, but we also want to be tap-in champions too.
I really would love to sit with you too and get on the golf course and figure out how to have tap-ins for par. I'm praying for bogeys most of the time, but that's a tale for another time. When we switch over to course number 1, we talked about the boys having to switch 5 and 8, difficult challenge, difficult conditions. Everybody else gets to play the same golf course twice in a row, and there's certainly an advantage to that.
Absolutely. I think the comfort level, knowing your lines, getting one more day to become more familiar, that's great. But again, the wind's going to be slightly different. Yesterday was directly from the west, wasn't it? And today it's a little more northwest. So there's still going to be those things to adapt to, that and the temperature, a little less wind now. So some of these dog legs, they might not be cutting off as much as they did yesterday with the wind direction. So it'll be really interesting to see how people adapt.
Let's talk about the women's field real quick before we go back to Steve. Obviously, it's tight on that side as well. Just your thoughts on day one and what we can expect here on day number 2 based on that leaderboard.
Yes. So Ira Joshi, she shot 69 yesterday. She was 1 under, the only player in that 15 to 18 that was under par. And then Ella Spence, just a few shots back, she shot even par. Actually, just 1 shot back, sorry. She shot even par. She's from Waxhaw, North Carolina there. So lots of North Carolina gals. Ira is also from Pinehurst. I'm not sure what she calls home or her home course, but you got to think there's some familiarity there as well. Erin Mullen, 2 over. So beyond that, Josefina Kritsky, she's also 3 over. She's in that final group as well. I think lots of opportunities to move here, and we'll see what happens.
From the two of yours expertise, and I keep going back to the weather because it is just such an intangible and a factor today because it's been drastically different. And we talked about it a lot at the Elite too, but do you change your warm-up routine? Do you get here a little earlier? Do you get here a little bit later? Does it, the layers affect your swing, obviously. So do you work on something like that on the range? What's the best advice or inside tips, I guess I would say, that you could give a golfer battling such a drastic shift in climate?
Yeah, I think one thing that I really think, I put my PGA of America teaching hat on for a moment. I mean, I think that when it's this cold and you have this many layers on, look, your body, even without the layers, is not going to move as well as it will. So, and the golf swing is all a timing of lower body and upper body. And so, look, if you're not rotating your upper body quite as much as you normally would, that is going to throw off the timing of your downswing for sure. And then, you combine that with, your 2 most important contact points in the game of golf are your hands to the club and your feet to the ground. And if those are cold, you're not feeling the ground properly, you're not shifting your weight. You could hang back a little too far, or you're just not feeling the ground properly, and then not feeling the club. Not having club face awareness. If your club face is a tenth of an inch open, and you're swinging at the speeds that some of these young men and women are swinging at, the ball is going to go very far offline. So you've got to have a lot of precision, but keeping the hands and the feet as warm as you possibly can. Those little hand warmers, you stuck them down in your shoes. I've got 2 pairs of socks on myself today, so I might even put another on. So it's just kind of one of those days. You've got to keep all those extremities with as much blood flowing through them as you can.
At what point do you over try to protect yourself from the elements? I think that's a wise comment. Like, you can put as many layers on as you want to stay as warm as you want, but at some point it does hinder what you're trying to do. It is hindering the extremities and the feel. You can't wear winter gloves if you're a golfer. You got to have the hands. You can't go. You can't be wearing winter boots because you got to feel the ground. So, at what point do you have to just suck it up?
Right. There is a point, and I think that's for everybody to figure out. Like, what is enough layers for me to still be able to move? I just think too, in this warm up, you got to remember it's a warm up, and that's your goal, is to try and get your body warm. I feel like sometimes people in this cold can mistake the poor shots for poor mechanics, when truly it's just you trying to move your body, get warm. We don't need to fix anything today in preparation. It's just how do I move with the layers that I've got on? And I think figuring that out in your warm-up is probably the key.
Obviously, conditions are a factor, but I want to dive into this golf course a little bit deeper, and I want to switch back to the men's side or the boys' side real quickly. The drastic changes between 5 and 8 are certainly there. We talked about yesterday the dichotomy of getting a practice round and being judicious and figuring out which of those courses you choose to play. Most of these players have probably played both courses. Some are seeing it for the first time. Let's say you make the wrong choice. Obviously, most players are probably picking 8 to practice because they know it's a tougher golf course. Let's hypothetically say that's the case. What are the challenges that maybe are secretly hidden in 5, because it could be the course today that factors in that maybe if you didn't play it, you don't see?
Yeah, I think 5 plays through more corridors of the with all the homes and the condos that kind of surround it. I think it's a little bit more insulated, honestly, from if there is any wind that picks up today. I think that's why Nolan Miller was talking about when we spoke to him the last few days. I mean, he really feels like, the number 5 course is 2 to 3 shots easier if all things remain equal. So, yes, I think the corridors are a little easier to play down. There's a little less trouble. On number 8, you've got some really challenging green complexes that fall away from you, which are very tough. You've got a few penalty areas out there. You've got some par 3s that look a little bit more challenging on paper as well. So, it's going to be very interesting to see how those players kind of, how they shift and, but this Jake Brady having this course knowledge, I kind of keep thinking back to that. I mean, having the home course advantage and understanding that, definitely a leg up.
We're going to speak to Nolan Miller in just a few moments as well and talk about sort of the intricacies of this course as well as this tournament in general. At the end of the day, there is something massive on the line, and I think we can talk about conditions and course and all of those things till we're blue in the face, but at the end of the day, these golfers are at the top of their game in their respective divisions. They certainly have the acumen to tackle those elements. At the end of the day, they're playing for a massive title to be the 78th Donald Ross Jr. champion.
Absolutely. Any championship played at Pinehurst has some, just elite feel to it. So I feel like you get to etch your name in a little bit of Pinehurst history when you win a tournament here. So I think that's what makes it really special for all of these kids.
You get your name on a plaque that hangs amongst some giants in golf. U.S. Open winners, Ryder Cup champions, North and South amateur winners. I mean, there's a plaque, as we've shown you multiple times over the course of this week, that you get your name etched in, and that is part of history. And Steve talked about it yesterday. This place will be here for decades and decades. It is the St. Andrews of American golf. It is the cradle of American golf. There's a feel about this place, and at the end of the day, when you're playing in this championship, coming down the line, there's gravitas to it.
That's exactly it. That's what makes it special, the gravitas, the history you get to be a part of. Again, etching your name amongst all these other greats and major champions. You're going to be in the same hallway, essentially, right, as a lot of the commemorated greats.
Make a left and you see Payne Stewart's cut-off sleeves. Make a right, you see the desk of Donald Ross, and walk 20 steps down the hallway and your name's on a plaque listed as the Donald Ross Junior champion. There is a lot of history in this place, certainly. We're going to bring in a guest, Nolan Miller, of course, the tournament director here for this event, and it's absolutely one of the highlights of the year. And it's just fantastic to be a part of some of these events, and it's certainly one of just a few that Pinehurst hosts. Nolan, thanks for joining us. Of course, we had you on day number 1 before the practice round. You're a busy man. We appreciate a little bit of your time right here. But if you could just talk about just the importance and the meaning of this place and how these events sort of kind of weigh, not only for the players in it, but the staff.
Yeah, Pinehurst is a really special place, as you guys have touched on all week. Everything from Payne Stewart's 99 U.S. Open, Bryson's bunker shot, but there's a lot of other golf that happens here, not just for the recreational golfer, but for the amateur golfer. What we do for amateur golf here is really important. The North and South Amateur, as you touched on this week, we've had 125 years of history in that event, 123 for the women, and then this tournament is in its 78th rendition. So before junior golf was really getting big, this tournament kind of laid a foundation for what junior golf is now.
Steve's going to have some questions for you as well, but first from me, the conditions are a factor that we have talked about ad nauseum, maybe too much, but it is golf. How does this compare to maybe other years, and what's the challenges that it presents to golfer and staff?
Yeah, I mean, it's
Thanks
always
for the jacket, by the way.
Yeah. It's always going to be cold this time of year here. Although yesterday it was warmer, but obviously very windy. Today is much colder, although sunny and calmer, so it might just about feel the same. Playing in the cold's always a challenge, but I grew up in Colorado.
Yes, you did. Yes,
I
sir.
remember playing junior golf tournaments in March when it was 40 degrees. It definitely tests you, makes you a stronger golfer, though. I mean, college coaches who are here, they're looking at players. They want to see how you deal with adversity. So I think it's very important that you're able to show up, even when the weather's not as great as it could be.
You can hand that off to him.
So, I think about, when I think about your role here and running, we saw 350 junior golfers. You're trying to usher them out to the golf course. I mean, explain to everybody out there listening how that happens, because, I mean, it's nothing short of a fire drill, Nolan.
Yeah, it is. It's logistically, you are hurting a lot of cats. Especially because everyone's kind of spread out on the practice facilities, so that makes it kind of difficult. And a lot of our contestants are not old enough to drive golf carts out there. So the 15 to 18-year-olds, we don't have too much trouble with. We stage golf carts for them just like any other shotgun. But for the 11 and under kids, the 12 to 14 kids, we've got to shuttle them out there. So that can cause a little bit of a logistical problem, especially because none of our golf courses here at the main club, the ninth hole does not finish anywhere near the clubhouse. So it's about as far away as it could be from the clubhouse. So that can cause a little bit of chaos, but we have a really great volunteer team here at Pinehurst that makes it all happen.
The 11-year-olds are fine.
They're fine. Exactly. Exactly.
One other thing, I know with all the championships that come through here, I mean, from the U.S. Amateurs to the U.S. Opens, I mean, it may be a favorite memory or somebody who you've run into through time, maybe at the most recent U.S. Open?
Yeah, I mean, last year's U.S. Open was awesome. It was really cool to be a part of. I've got to say, I know people have mixed feelings about him. I've always been a big fan of Phil Mickelson. He was one of the nicest human beings. I've heard different stories about him, but man, he treated the staff so well here. He was really incredible. But I got to say, one of my favorite memories from working here have been in the North and South Amateur. I think I've seen some of the best live golf. Luke Clanton, watching him win here, Nick Dunlap, and then going on to win as an amateur on tour for the first time since Phil Mickelson. So that was really cool, very full circle moment for us. It kind of showed that what we're working on matters here.
History is such a massive part of this, and we were just talking with Rhea about the fact that you get to be amongst the giants in that wonderful hallway that is this clubhouse here. And by the way, if you've not been to Pinehurst, this place is truly magical and special, and it should be on your golf checklist. You have an opportunity to provide these young men and women with that opportunity, not only in the North and the South, but obviously the Donald Ross. Does that hit you at some point? Do you realize that you're actually affecting lives and possibly setting kids on a path that's enormous, whether they make it as a pro or not?
Yeah, I think for me, this is my fourth year really here in our tournament operations team, and it did finally kind of come full circle for me when the Nick Dunlap thing happened, when he won on tour. I was like, wow, this is actually, like these kids are becoming the future of golf. But I love seeing our juniors develop, the kids that are in the 11 and under divisions that come back next year to play in the 12 to 14, maybe win, get to play in the junior North and South. I think that is really cool. The parents are all very appreciative, and they'll come up to us and say, wow, this tournament really helped kind of set my kid on a path to play college golf. And maybe, some of them don't end up playing college golf, but it is very cool to see.
Lastly, for you, Nolan, want to touch on it. We talked about it a little bit earlier. There are some local talents involved here.
Yeah.
And listen, that's special because this is, at the end of the day, a country club. And for those of you that know or belong to any course, no matter what it is, country club or otherwise, that's a family. There's a bond. There's a relationship there. And
Totally.
Not that there's any favoritism by any means, but just what does it mean to you to have some of the local talent in the mix here at this event, and how much pride does a place like this take in having that?
Yeah, Pinehurst, having the home field advantage is obviously great. One of the better players that I've seen come through here is Jackson Van Paris, who does live right down the road. And he almost got it done twice at the North and South Amateur. So having that home field advantage is pretty great. A kid like Jake Brady, who's a member here, that's great. Samara Sandhu in the girls division, also a member here. So it's great to see that we've got such good local talent here that we're breeding in Pinehurst, because it is the cradle of American golf. So I would think this is where people want to be if they want to get good at golf.
Big day coming up right now. We'll crown a champion here in just about,
7 hours.
7 hours from now. It sort of caps off 2025. If you could just lastly summarize what this year has meant tournament-wise for Pinehurst on the junior and amateur side.
Yeah, I mean, it was great. This summer we saw two great champions out of the men's and women's North and South, Carlos Astiazaron and Mackenzie Lee. Both great players. It was awesome to see them get it done. Junior North-South, it was great to have someone like Charlie Woods come and play. That was really cool for us, unique for him, I think, as well. And then closing it out with something like the Donald Ross Jr., where we have field of 350 kids out here. Honestly, my favorite part about this kind of tournament and what makes Pinehurst feel so special is, at the end of the day, it's a lot of people with their families. They're taking pictures with each other. They're getting dinner with each other, getting drinks with each other. That's the bond that I love that golf provides.
Nolan, you're a busy man today. We're going to let you go and take care of all of the tournament director duties and ushering 350-plus kids around this golf course, but cannot thank you enough for the hospitality, for the kindness, and for the open arms here.
Absolutely. Thank you guys for doing this.
All right. Nolan Miller, tournament director for everything here at Pinehurst. We're going to bring Rhea Scott back in just a moment. Nolan, can't thank you enough for everything that you've done, not only for Pinehurst, but also for these young amateur golfers, and what a great job he does. Little partial to Nolan. Not only is he a fellow Coloradan, but obviously a friend in golf and a friend in life as well. So fun to see him doing such great things. As we get set to wrap this up and head out, I just want to sort of touch on final thoughts from you all and just what we think about the respective divisions. Let's start with the younger age groups. Obviously, just a huge opportunity for them. This is a prelude to things to come. And Steve, I'll start with you on that. But obviously, for the 11 under division on the boys' side, it's mostly just about, hey, go out there, try to win a tournament. It's not life or death or career changing or college scouting. I mean, who knows if they even like golf in 3 years. But at this point, it's just, hey, it's a great experience in a wonderful place with your family.
Yeah, there's no question about that. I mean, whatever they shoot today is almost secondary in a way to the memories and the experiences they're going to have. I mean, you're just piling experiences up. When you're the 11 and on, I mean, this is some of your first competitive golf you've ever played. I started playing tournaments when I was 10, so I guess that feels kind of late in life now. But Ethan Lee shooting 1 under par yesterday in the boys 11 and under division, the only under par score yesterday. I mean, this is gonna be a memorable day one way or another. They always say if you don't get what you want, you get experience. And he's going to get experience. And I'm not saying he won't get what he wants. He might go out and shoot a great score and win by 5. It's just it's going to be a very interesting day. You're going to learn a lot about yourself today if you're Ethan Lee. And then in the boys 12 and 14 division, I mean, you've got Jack Cole, Bryce Lloyd, and Oliver Shawn all at 1 under par. They're going to be in that final group with Hudson Hurt, who shot even par. And the scores, I mean, kind of like you said, if you make a few pars, like pars are your friend today. Pars are very good. These players they're gonna go through, and they're playing course number 4. Course number 4, I feel like is extremely challenging around the greens. We saw it yesterday. There's some severe drop-offs on some of the holes, but they're gonna have a very interesting time. And then I'm excited to go to head to course number 8 while you stay on course number 5, Nick, and follow the final group. That leading group of Jake Brady, Sawyer Driscoll, Bodie Snyder, and Liam Hooton. Liam Hooton being shooting even par yesterday. The other 3 shooting 1 under and tied for the lead. We'll see how they navigate course 8. under these cold conditions. Liam Hooton, very interesting. I learned a little about him being one shot back. I mean, he won. He shot in some low scores this year. He won the Southeastern Junior Golf Tour's Patton Kazire Junior Invitational this year. He shot 66-70 to get that done. He shot 5 under par to qualify for an AJGA event as well. I mean, that's taking it pretty deep right there for a guy who's a young man who's in the class of 2029. So what is he? He's got to be, a freshman right now.
Freshman.
I mean, yeah, so I'm doing my math here. But it's carry the one. Yeah, you said there'd be no math. But yes, it's going to be really cool to see. I mean, you kind of look at one of these players, maybe it's not always easy to hold the lead. Sometimes it's a little easier to chase. So we'll see how they go.
We'll switch to the women here before we say goodbye. Very excited to see, and from my perspective, how the men's side plays out. I think it will come down to number 5. We'll talk about our coverage here in just a quick moment. Very excited, by the way, to see how Jack Cole responds under the pressure. I had a wonderful opportunity to chat with him a couple of days ago after the practice round. He and his mom and his grandma are here, and just a wonderfully polite kid from Ponte Vedra, Florida, Jacksonville area. After his practice round, I think he was more excited about what the Jaguars did on the turf than he was about how his round went. But calm, cool, and collected. I'm looking forward to seeing what young Jack Cole does today. And the women's side, they get to play number 1 again. Just your thoughts on what you saw yesterday and what maybe we can expect from them today.
Yeah. So like so Nolan said, we have a couple locals in those last couple groups. Again, Ira Joshi, she's from around here. It doesn't sound like she's a member. And then at 3 over, she could have been in that last group, but 3 over, Severa Sandhu, member here at Pinehurst. So I'd be interested to see what her comfort level is out there. Sometimes, though, playing at home adds a different factor.
Sure.
Sometimes it adds, you putting a little bit more pressure on yourself. So we'll see what those gals do. But again, lots of exciting golf in the younger age division. Addison Garner with the lead there in the girls 12 to 14. Angelina Chang, 2 under. Girls 11 and under. I mean, what a score for a young person there. So some really great golf being played at all divisions.
And great golf about to play itself out here on Baby Grand. We will have a wrap-up show coming to you after the awards. Timing will be rough, but if you just stick with us here on, of course, all of the Baby Grand social media, we'll get you updated as to when we're going to be doing things. We're going to talk to you and wrap this up after the event is over, after the awards are over. Our coverage right now for this morning show concluding, but remember, you can pick us up with live coverage on course of the leaders here on the final day of the 78th Donald Ross Junior Championship. That starts at 11 a.m. Eastern Time. We're going to start Steve over on number 8. He'll be with the lead group. Rhea will be on number 1. She'll be hanging out with the girls and some of the younger boys. I will be on course number 5, taking you through the ones trying to catch up to the leaders on number 8. There's going to be a lot of fluctuation today on the scoreboard. Temperature will be a factor. Wind will come in later. No rain in the forecast. It's a beautiful day outside, and if you're watching from the comfort of your home, you're going to think it's a perfect day at Pinehurst, but we'll all be bundled up bringing you all of the action here on Baby Grand. Make sure you stick with all of the socials as well for features and highlights and all of the other things that you've come to expect from Baby Grand's coverage of any golf tournament that we're at. Go get some coffee, relax, cozy in, stay warm. We're going to try, and our coverage begins for the final round at 11 a.m. Eastern Time. You can follow all those links. Thank you so much for joining us this morning. We certainly do appreciate it, and all of course, the comments and reposting and favoriting and liking and all of the things that all of our faithful fans do. We do appreciate it. For our entire crew, the guys behind the scenes that don't get enough credit, Stan and Brandon, you have no idea what goes into all of this. For Steve and Rhea, we appreciate you very, very much, and we will see you back at 11 a.m. for the start of round number 2 of the 78th Donald Ross Junior Championship from the cradle of American golf, Pinehurst.
Cooking soul.